All right, guys. You heard me just now. You know who I was imitating? Okay, it's clear we have sound, and I am here hanging out with you today live for the Ex-Vegan live stream. And I'm very excited about this because I've been wanting to share my experience with you going vegan, from vegan to ex-vegan recently, no longer vegan. And I am excited that I get to be live on this channel, the Organic Adventure Show, and speaking with you. I'm going to share my experience with my ex-vegan lifestyle and how I feel and how it's affecting me. I'm also going to be open to questions that are coming in here. And as a result of that, I am unsure exactly how the chat works here. So if I miss somebody's comment, then I apologize, but I welcome you, whether you are coming from a place of pro-vegan, pro-ex-vegan, or wherever you're coming from. I'm happy to be here with you today. So why don't we just get started by telling a little bit about what I'm having right now here, because this is not a vegan drink. And I don't know if you can see in here. Oh yeah, you can see in there a little bit. So this is a ginger turmeric tea that I made, and it has organic heavy whipping cream that I whipped up myself. And this has become my new favorite food, is some kind of a tea with a heavy whipping cream. And you know, if I ever decide to go vegan again, I'm for sure going to miss that particular aspect of not being vegan, because there is truly not too much more that I could imagine to have as a treat than a tea with heavy whipping cream in it. And as you may know from watching my videos, it's been over 5 years since I've had coffee, and I used to drink coffee with heavy whipping cream, and I gave up the coffee and went full on vegan from being vegetarian about the same time. And I gave up that whipping cream and the coffee, so I'm not drinking coffee now. But that is another one of the things that I truly miss, is the coffee with the heavy whipping cream. I'm sure it would be at least as good as the tea. And that being said, one of my favorite teas besides the ginger to drink is yerba mate with heavy whipping cream and a little bit of milk. And we're talking all organic stuff here. And in addition to that, what I have been enjoying with the whipping cream is my new invention, my new recipe for cacao tea with heavy whipping cream. And it's very simple to make, but it's definitely different than anything I've ever seen anybody else make. And so if you end up wanting to know about that recipe, just let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video that has that specific recipe in it. For those that are still vegan, I have found the ginger tea with soy milk is really good. And I like to have an unsweetened soy milk. And then if I feel like adding some sugar to that, then I will. Best kind of ginger to add to your ginger tea that I found is dried ginger that is not a powder, but just a straight dried organic ginger. And then steep that, basically boil the water, then steep it for about 10 minutes covered. And that's going to really, really bring out the ginger in the tea. And that with some soy milk is really good too. So I hope that if you're a vegan and you're watching this, that you'll be able to enjoy your ginger tea. And I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of this creamy ginger turmeric tea here. It is good. So if you have watched any of my videos before, then you probably know that I didn't become an ex-vegan because I was having real issues on the vegan diet. And I should say I've been vegan most of the time since the year 2000, but there were periods of time in there, and usually small periods, where I was having mostly organic milk or organic cream. There were never any eggs in that time. So it was really a pure vegan diet, except for the dairy. And then about 5.5 years ago, or a little more, I went all the way vegan, excluding honey. And I have stayed fit and healthy during that time. And I felt like my performance was good, and I was able to maintain health on a vegan diet. However, the people that were the ex-vegans got me curious. And I've been curious about this for a long time. One of the reasons that I was curious was because there were people that had expressed a concern about vegan diets for children. And I think that as long as a child is getting the mother's milk, that there should be no laws to prevent people from being vegan. I think that it's best to follow a really rounded diet, meaning like to include a lot of different foods from the vegan category if you're going to be vegan, meaning having lots of nuts, seeds, not necessarily, I'd say the nuts and seeds the least, but lots of beans or legumes and rice and grains like quinoa and millet and amaranth and any kind of, and even wheat, if you're not gluten sensitive, keeping those things all organic, and then still eating plenty of fresh vegetables and fruits and cooked vegetables as well. And I'd say definitely don't be afraid of tofu. As long as it's organic, there's not going to be any genetically modified organisms if it's organic. And that is a good food, even in spite of what a lot of people have said. There's no real science to say that that soy is really bad for you, especially on the level that people are eating a whole foods based diet, meaning like they're just not eating a bunch of processed foods where everything has soy in it, including like different types of supplements and including a lot of protein powders that are not even vegan protein powders. There's that soy protein isolate and all kinds of derivatives of soy lecithin, all kinds of things that have textured vegetable protein. These things are in so many things, but I really never had those types of things for the most part as a vegan. Now, not being vegan anymore, I have to say that it's hard to say if I feel better or not. And I'm not eating any meat. So because I'm not eating any meat right now, I can't say what that would be like. But I've been eating eggs, and I have been eating organic cream, organic cheese, organic milk, and organic yogurt, mostly organic cream, and probably with second place the organic milk and third place the organic eggs. And meaning that's like probably I'm consuming mostly the organic cream. So what happened when I stopped being vegan, when my first day not being vegan? Basically, it was very emotional for me, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna eat all of this stuff. It wasn't necessarily the best way to do it. However, it was all organic and all simple foods. But I had, in the same day that I wasn't vegan anymore, organic cream, organic milk, and organic cheese, and maybe even organic yogurt. And I really, really, really overdid it on the cream. But still, the next day I woke up and I wondered if I felt a little bit better than I normally feel. And the reason I say that is that I felt like some kind of joy. Now, I'll take it that that could have been a placebo effect. However, there was just like maybe a slight insulation I had in my head, and I attribute that to the cholesterol and whatever those things that are in the animal products, specifically in like, well, I can't even say specifically because I had 3 different things at least that night, including the eggs, cream, and milk. So, but I do think that it felt like I had a sense of like maybe my nerves had a little bit of insulation, and that felt good. And I felt, like I said, a little bit more joy than normal, but that could have been the placebo effect. So over the next couple of days, I really, really overdid the cream, and I even had cream with organic sugar. And basically, that combination of excessive cream and organic sugar and hot cocoa with organic cream, one of those things just was a little bit too much. And on like the 3rd day of eating that way, I was feeling like, oh man, did I make a mistake? Now, since then, I have pretty much felt just in general good, healthy, strong. I've had some better performance on a couple of things than average, and that's mostly with the amount of weight that I'm lifting, the heaviness of it. And that being said, my cardio hasn't improved as of yet. I'm still doing good cardiovascularly, but I'm yet to hit my best time eating eggs and dairy on a 5K, for example. So I really can't say 100% for sure that I feel better or worse eating the way that I'm eating now. However, what I will say is that I can relate on some level to people that are saying that they felt something that was like a miraculous change in them. And what for me, I feel that miraculous changes that is not so miraculous, but more like it makes me wonder, is that I feel a slight change in my overall mental state. Something in a way that's good as a result. Like I'm a little bit more comfortable in general in my mental state. And I feel like it's still something I can't say for sure is attributable to having some eggs and dairy, but I can definitely say that something has changed in a good way. And again, I have to say I attribute that to the cholesterol. And that being said, cholesterol too much could be bad for you, especially under the wrong circumstances. But as I've learned, and maybe you have learned, there is a lot of question about the whole cholesterol theory and the lipid theory that is the reason that people have assumed that animal source foods, especially cholesterol, is bad for you, exogenous, or cholesterol that you're getting from foods like animal products, because that's the only place they are. And maybe, however, I could definitely say that I love this cream, and it definitely seems like it just gives me a little cushion to the world. Something like that, like this insulation feeling. Now, brain fog, I don't know. There's been a couple of times that I thought eggs maybe could be a contributor to brain fog a little, but maybe it depends on what else you eat with the eggs. And I've tried them cooked and raw and just about every way that you could imagine. My favorite way is to have them any way I can that doesn't involve frying them on a pan or using any extra oil. And so that means poached eggs, it means boiled eggs or hard-boiled eggs, and also baked eggs, which can be really good too. There's some ways I've had that. If you're interested in knowing what kind of baked eggs I've had and how I've done that, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video sharing that experience with you. And I also can say, people might ask, could there be other reasons why you are feeling different after eating foods that are not vegan anymore? And one thing I will say is that I purposefully lost more than 10 pounds recently. And it was right after that loss of that weight, which it equaled out to be like 13, 14 pounds, that I decided that I was going to no longer be vegan. And I can definitely say that I felt pretty hungry, and maybe that's why. But there are so many other factors at play as a result of having that restriction of foods to get down to that weight that, the way that I'm feeling now as a result of eating more to maintain the weight that I have reached, I can say that, it just feels in general, good to like eat enough calories to maintain my body weight. And I'm sure that I'm going to experience more changes as a result. So will I go back to being vegan? I don't have plans to go back to being vegan right now. I also don't have plans to eat actual meat right now, but I'm very curious about that lifestyle. The ethical question, of course, comes up, and some people say they'd go vegan for the animals. Well, for me, I'd go vegan for my daughter. And let me explain this. As many of you may know, if you've watched Sferige or Sferrier, he considers himself a carnivore, and he recently had killed a rabbit in a video, and I saw it and I thought, yeah, that's what is hard for me. And I told my daughter about it, who is 5, and she broke down and cried. And she said that she will never, ever kill an animal. But she literally didn't just cry, she was bawling. And when my daughter had this reaction, being a vegetarian her whole life, and actually never eating eggs until recently. She only had cream or milk or cheese until recently. So all 3 of my kids, my 11-year-old, my 8-year-old, and my 5-year-old, have all been vegetarian for their whole lives. And so having my daughter react that way, I really thought, oh my gosh, you know what? Maybe we aren't meant to kill animals. So that brings up the next question that people might have. So ethical, should I kill animals? And the thing for me is that I killed animals when I was younger and I ate them, small animals for me, but that was part of my life. It was part of my family's life. And I eventually stopped doing it because I did feel bad about it. And that was long before I became a vegan or even a vegetarian. So that being said, I feel like, yeah, of course you feel bad killing an animal when you look into its eyes. I feel like I'm the animal's friends. And so I would say for sure, to answer the people that say I'm not an ex-vegan, that I'm just an ex-plant-based person, I would definitely say I'm an ex-vegan, because I am coming from a place where I still am not sure that I want to kill any animals. And I understand the ethics associated with the dairy and the eggs industry. So I'm aware that the choice that I've made to have those things is not approved from a vegan standpoint. But like for me, I definitely was vegan because I thought it was going to make me more healthy at first. But then it just fit perfectly that, wow, yeah, we're not meant to kill animals. And I really felt strongly about that. I even felt a connection. I felt like when I would go out into the woods, oh yeah, maybe I have this special connection to animals where, like for example, a wild animal like a bear wouldn't hurt me because they can sense, that I don't eat meat, for example. And now when I think about that, not too sure about that. And I definitely wouldn't want to test that theory out for sure. So then comes the next question about this subject. And that is, as far as ethics are concerned, when it comes to eating animals, let's just look at the dolphin for the sake of of understanding this more in depth. Dolphins, they eat fish. So they're intelligent creatures, dolphins are. So my question to anybody who is vegan and thinks that it's wrong for people to eat animals or fish is, what would you tell the dolphin? And I suspect that you would say that we're different than the dolphin because we can make the choice not to have the animals. And I understand that. And I know that we can live without the animals, meaning without eating them. I know that there's a lot that I could say about that, of course, that not eating animals works. I did it for a long time. But the question definitely comes down to it, is that what is optimal? And is that really a human species specific diet, meaning one that doesn't have any animals in them as food at all? And, it's like the dolphin or the lion. If you completely deprive those animals of fish for the dolphin or meat for the lion, those animals would not even live, let alone be healthy. So that's why I say, in spite of the fact that a human can go without eating those animals, is it really the right choice? Really, sincerely, is that the right choice? What if we are meant to eat animals to really thrive? And thriving is important. And that is especially something that I realized with my kids, and partly the reason that I stopped being 100% vegan at some point before was because I was concerned about my kids and the health of my first child's teeth, for example. And so that to me was like the first wake-up call of like, okay, are we missing something in the vegan diet, even though we were eating a healthy or a healthful vegan diet? And I can go into that more in depth if somebody wants me to, but I questioned whether it was healthy to be a vegan, even though I was vegan. And I chose to stay vegan in spite of the fact that I didn't know if it was the most healthful diet. And I often stated that I don't know if being vegan is the most healthful way, although I know that you can be healthy. So that's healthy is relative to thriving or not thriving. I mean, where are you as far as how healthy you are? Like, are you thriving? Are you like joyful? Are you happy to be alive, or are you struggling? And I'm still undecided on that, how I feel as a vegan, if I'm actually better off or not. And just so you guys know, I'm not seeing your comments. Oh, okay, I do see a comment here now. How would you determine the most optimal? Exactly. What methods and qualifiers are you using? Okay, yeah, and that is a question that's been a difficult question to answer. Very difficult, because how can we really know? There is no way for us to really know if we were meant to eat animals or not. We can only look at what we've seen in the past, and obviously not everything that people did in the past was good, so we have to wonder, okay, is there a better way? So I'm with that. But as far as qualifying what is optimal, I think that at some point you can't only look at the science, you have to look at your relative feeling of health. And if that relative feeling of health corresponds to health when you're examined, for example, by a doctor, and they actually look at your blood or look at your arteries and they say there's no atherosclerosis, there's no problem with your cholesterol, all of your nutrient levels are in a good place, and you feel good along with that, then you have to look for yourself. Do I feel better as a vegan, following a vegan plant-based diet, or do I feel better when I am eating some animal products as well? And so it's definitely hard to identify, to answer your question. And I understand anybody that has an argument with that, and anybody that would say, well, why don't you just go ahead and not eat animals? And the reason I'd say is because I really want to know what it feels like and what it is like in life to live and thrive. And I may go back to being a vegan again. And like I said, I haven't made the choice to actually eat the flesh of animals or fish as of now, but I definitely feel like I'm not unhappy that I'm eating eggs and dairy. Those things at this point are something I'm experimenting with, and I may be getting something, maybe I'm having some kind of a better life experience as a result of that. But it is a big question, and I don't know. Now, that being said, there are a lot of people who have made statements that are ridiculous, and I'm going to go ahead and just put my opinion in here for that matter. So I'm not out here to put anybody down, carnivore, vegan, or just a regular omnivore type of person. But there are obviously people that I like better than other people and who I relate to better than other people. And when it comes to Sverige or Sverige, he takes the standpoint that you cannot get any nutrition from plant foods. And I completely disagree with him. And I respectfully disagree with him. I don't dislike him as a person. I don't know him as a person. I've never met with him. He might be a really good person and somebody that just wants to really wake up vegans. But I understand why some people are offended by him. But for me, I look at him and I can relate to him on some things. I can laugh with him from the perspective of viewing him about some things. And then I can say, okay, yeah, that's ridiculous for me. When he says that you can't get vitamin A from plants, the science clearly shows that you can get vitamin A from plants and that your body converts it. So whether or not there are some people call obligate carnivores or not, that's not proven scientifically. But let's go ahead and look and see what else we have. You should dislike him. He would harm you in a second. Maybe. You might be right. I don't know. I don't know him personally. Do you know him personally? Race Lever? Yeah, you might be right. And I'm skeptical, of course, about anybody who I don't know. And I've made judgments about people in the past, both good and bad, that were not accurate. Yeah, I don't want to start tearing down somebody's character or person without knowing. I have looked into Sverige a lot, and I've watched so many carnivore and vegan and ex-vegan and ex-carnivore diet videos that I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of a lot of people, and kind of feel like I know them to some degree, but I don't. Whoever I don't know personally, I can't vouch for them because I don't have direct experience with them and I don't know their entire past. So let's see here what you were saying here. 1 second. I know he says that cannibalism is the default state for humans. I've heard him say something like that too, and I know that he has like sucked blood from somebody's leg, and yeah, I don't agree with those things first of all, and I don't think that it's a healthy position to take in life. You could even view it as that drinking the blood, I mean, as a vampire-like behavior, first of all. But there were other reasons, I guess in Jewish tradition, they drain the blood from the animal before eating it. And somebody who is kosher probably knows more about that than I would. But there were lots of practices that were done in the past, and they maybe had good reasons for those practices. But one way or another, I don't support anybody having the blood of another person. I don't think that's a helpful habit. Let's see here. Opposite of someone you want to listen to if you want to stay well. And yeah, I do take everything that I hear from anybody with a grain of salt, because I can relate to you on what you're saying. And I am definitely, like I said, I have a good skeptical position towards people that I don't know. But I do think that he is extreme, and his beliefs in the past about sun gazing and things like that make it obvious to me that he's a human that doesn't know or understand everything. And so what I would say to Freelee or anybody who says that they know for a fact that this is the way it is or that is the way it is, that I would say, how do you know? And I know that they're not going to be able to give me an answer that is going to satisfy how do you know. Just like I can't give you an answer telling you, oh yeah, I know for sure that being vegan or not being vegan is better for your health. I'm still experimenting with that aspect. And still, even if I end up feeling better or I become stronger, is it really that it's better for my health? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that I can ever really definitively say one way or the other. And that's why I haven't closed myself off to being vegan. But to somebody who is vegan and can't understand why somebody would question it, I would say that maybe you will question it at some point. Okay, but we can know for sure it's better for the animals and the environment. Oh, I 100% agree with you that for the animals to have us to not eat them, then sure. I agree 100% that the animals would prefer it if we didn't eat them. And I get that 100%. And I know they'd prefer it if a lion didn't eat them. The environment, I have thought for a lot of my life that it would be better for the environment to be vegan. And I've quoted statistics about that myself for a long time. So that being said, yes, that might be provable. It still hasn't been proven to me I'm not satisfied with the answers that I've been given up to this point, but I do say that there's a good argument for what you're saying, 100% for sure. Might be better for the environment. And now that being said too, there's a lot of things that would be better for the environment. And ultimately, especially as a person who has children, I want them to be optimally healthy. And so my argument to that would be like, no matter what is better for the environment, ultimately, whatever kind of animal you are, you have to make a choice for yourself that is one that is what you were meant to have. And when I say what you're meant to have, again, I'm going back to what is it that humans are supposed to eat? And if we're supposed to eat meat, meaning if that is how we thrive and it's the only way for us to thrive, then I would have to say that in spite of the fact that it's a very harsh way to look at reality, I would still probably side with that reality, because just like I would side with the lion that has to eat meat. And I understand that people are not going to agree with me who feel strongly otherwise, and I understand. I'm not against you for feeling that way. So a huge cow requires far more resources than a human. Yeah, so I'm going to side with you on this. I'm going to go with you on this because you are completely right. And the argument that some carnivores or people who advocate eating meat have is that to eat plants is bad for the environment because we're using so much resources to grow those plants. Now, that being said, you have it right when you say that it requires much more plant-based resources to feed all of those animals and to sustain that. So my belief is probably I would probably side with you on this, saying that, yeah, we could feed everybody probably better if people were not consuming animals in the way that they are, especially at the level of consumption that they are. And then that being said, though, there's the argument of animal husbandry and the idea that if we didn't eat animals, we wouldn't even be able to fertilize our crops. And that there's some argument there. Maybe there's some debate to be had about it, but there's an argument for that. Yeah, and so yeah, I appreciate you sharing your comments, though. Thank you for sharing these and for tuning into this. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna, after this stream is over, I am going to put this on YouTube so that anybody else can see the conversation. I'm not going to edit anything out of it. Maybe the beginning or end, I might put an intro or an outro, but whatever, it's going to be like it is. I'm not going to change anything here. So people can see these arguments. And I am not anti-vegan either, and I'm not pro-carnivore, but I am pro-health and I am pro-thriving. I really think that it's important for people to eat what it is that they are meant to eat so that they can really experience true health. Veganic farming uses no chemical pesticides or herbicides, nor does it use animal products, and if it improves soil conditions. Veganic farming. Okay, I'm with you there, definitely. I don't know a lot about veganic farming specifically. I'm somewhat familiar with biodynamic farming, and I've even heard of like humanure, and there's an argument for all of those things. So yeah, I definitely, yeah, I'm with you there. It's interesting. All of your comments have been retracted, but I am answering these comments for Race Lever, and I'm happy I'm answering these questions too. I'm happy if people are trolling me. I'm happy if people are watching this for any reason at all. For me, I've always been about the truth, and of course I care about animals and my fellow human beings. So I definitely, I mean, if somebody, for whatever reason that you're watching, I'm happy about it. I retract them after you answer. Okay, that makes sense. And that's fine. I wasn't sure. I've never seen anybody do that before, but this is my first live stream where I've actually had anybody leaving comments. I only did one as a test several years ago. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll still watch for your comments. I'm just going to go into another subject here for a minute too, and that is Garth Davis, Dr. Garth Davis. I've listened to him and his arguments against people who are not vegan anymore, and to take the other side again, I have to say that I think that Dr. Garth Davis really hasn't. I think that he really doesn't have respect for people that are not vegan in general because of his stance. He assumes that all vegans were either millennials or young or ignorant. And I tend to believe that vegans are very educated about nutrition and health for the most part, because they want to be and they often have to be in order to know like how to actually eat different than the rest of the population. So I'm with the vegans in this way that people who make the choice to be vegan, if they aren't smart about diet at first, they usually become smart about diet. So to write them off as leaving veganism because they were not smart and they didn't do it right, I think that it's just not true. But that also gives points to vegans, knowing that you make a choice for health in addition to helping the animals a lot of times. So proper vegans are extremely wise. Yeah, I would agree with you, definitely. I think I have immense respect for people who choose to eat vegan, and I have a long-time vegan friend. He's what I would consider an extreme vegan in every respect. He's always viewed people who eat animals as murderers, and it was sometimes hard because of his stance to just because it was so extreme, to really wonder how do you know this? Like, how do you know that we're not supposed to eat animals? But he is in his 70s, and he went vegan because his parents were farmers, and he heard how a pig sounded when it was being slaughtered, and chose not to be vegan when it was unpopular way back. I mean, he's in his 70s, and he's been vegan for, I don't know, more than 50 years. So that being said, he's a very wise person, and I respect his point of view. I'm still not 100% sure I agree with him that people who don't eat animals are murderers. And especially, I mean, when you call somebody a murderer, that implies that they are a bad person, that they are deliberately doing something that is wrong from my perspective. And somebody who's eating animals, for the most part, at least doesn't believe that it's not meant to be. So killing a sentient being is the most extreme thing in this realm, far more extreme than being against it. And yeah, I'll go with you that it is extreme. And like I said, even my 5-year-old can relate to that when she bawls because I told her about somebody killing a rabbit. I mean, it literally broke her heart. I felt bad that I even told her about it. And on the other hand, everybody that is around her from my mom's side of the family eats animals, and she likes and respects them. So this is a matter of, will we be able to know someday? Will we be able to know for sure? And I think that we're not there yet, but we may come to the conclusion as people that, oh yeah, it's just ridiculous to eat animals. Maybe we will. I might be looking at myself even as a person who decided to eat eggs and dairy and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. But I do know what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe I can be more healthy, and maybe this is optimal. And I really wanted to have those answers for myself instead of from somebody else. And as a result, I might be able to say at some point that I don't think that it's better for my health to eat those things, because her heart's not fully corrupted yet. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. Yep. She already knows. The world will try to make her forget. I hear that. Yeah, definitely. Innocence is a precious thing, and yeah, I'm with you for sure. So that being said, I'm gonna wait and see if you have some more comments you want to share, or if anybody else joins in and wants to share more comments. I wasn't expecting a lot of people to be on this live stream, but I'm happy that you are sharing your comments, Race Lever, and I'm happy that this information is going to be out there for people to see, and that people will know from my own perspective that I'm not, that I haven't forgotten what it's like to have compassion towards all beings. And on the other hand, I want to know too, am I being compassionate towards animals when I should be eating them? And I really do have that question. I really do. But I'm always going to probably wonder that, even if I were to go further down the rabbit hole of eating animal foods. But maybe I won't go any further. And there are some other perspectives that were shared by some other people. And what I would say, I've been around the vegan community for a long, long time. And I've heard people say all kinds of things that maybe might draw people closer to a vegetarian or vegan diet, and people that might push them away, or things that might push people away, and things that might bring them closer. And my perspective is that it's good to educate people that want to be educated. It's good to share things with people, But if you bash people for not being vegan anymore, I think you're gonna deter more people from even experimenting with it. Because even myself, people like Freelee, who I at one point had immense respect for, even though I question whether I should have. Well, it's not about that. I respect a lot of people maybe that don't deserve respect, but I try to be respectful of people in general and to give them the benefit of the doubt for who they are and what they represent until I see that there's something that really, where it's knowingly just not goodwill or good intentions or anything good at all. But Freelee, with her rants that I've seen, like for me, her telling people what to do in the way she does it, it's not about that I feel hurt by Freelee or that like I feel small from Freelee or like any kind of thing like that. I just think, wow, Freelee, you're not doing anything good for yourself. If anything, you're hurting yourself and you're deterring people from listening to a message that could be said in a way that might draw people towards you. And I know that you have said Freelee that you don't care how it affects people. So whatever, I mean, do your thing, whatever it is. But I don't think that it's getting you any more respect or it's getting anybody else to go vegan. I think it's just making a few people that are already feel how you do, feel like justified in feeling the way that they do, but it's not really drawing anybody else into being a vegan or even a vegetarian for that matter. And by the way, I wouldn't call eggs hens periods. I'd call them hens ovulations. Anybody want to comment on that? You should. So arrogance in the world. What I will say is, if you're listening to different people, carnivore versus vegan, I'd say a good debate to listen to is Vegan Gains versus Frank Tufano. If you really want to know the truth about that debate, then listen to it, because you'll find that there is one person that strongly stands out as the winner of that debate. And I mean, okay, I can't say anything more without just being honest and truthful. And so for you, Frank Tufano, I respectfully say to you that you lost the debate. That doesn't mean that you're wrong about eating meat. I really don't know. But you definitely lost that debate badly. I would be more prepared next time if you're going to go against Vegan Gains. And I would just have to say for Vegan Gains, you know, that guy at this point in his life, he's probably making people want to go vegan to some degree. So that's coming from a person who's not vegan right now. And that's not trying to, I mean, you know, I don't care. I mean, when I say I don't care, it's the same as what John Venus said. You know, people are going to feel what they feel, and they're going to judge whatever they're going to judge from their perspective. So if you like me, great. If you don't like me, I understand. But I mean no disrespect to anybody who I'm speaking about, but I do like to call the truth. And Vegan Gains won that debate easily. So what I would recommend to carnivores after I answer this question, eggs are actually ovary discharges that come out of poop holes. Oh, interesting. You might know more about the anatomy of a chicken than I do. But Frank lost the debate, but his left eyebrow won the mama match with Vegan Gains. The MMA match. That's funny. Yeah, you're with me, Frank. You lost that debate for sure. But that's what I wanted to say just about being extreme as a person who's not going to eat meat. To say that somebody can't get nutrition and can't build muscle on a vegan diet, I'd say there's plenty of evidence that they can. And in addition to that, people can still build muscle even if they don't take protein powder. If they don't take creatine, they can still build muscle if they don't have any kinds of supplements. I think you need to take B12 if you're a vegan. And people can convert DHA from EPA and ALA. So regarding all of that stuff, you know, if you really want to know the truth, that there is evidence that people who don't consume DHA or EPA, that they convert a higher amount of alpha linoleic acid or omega-3 fatty acids that are not DHA and EPA, that they do convert them at a higher rate into EPA and DHA. So I'm not saying it's optimal. I'm just saying that those things do get converted. The only real question people have about a vegan diet at this point that is like scientifically based is about the B12 question. And yeah, it's recommended that anybody is a vegan that they should take B12, and I recommend that too. So yeah, who else is out there? Carnivore, vegan. I want to give a shout out to Bobby's Perspective, just because I respect you and your channel. I obviously, I don't know you as a person from being around you. Yeah, but anyways, I've enjoyed some of your videos, and Vegetable Please, in spite of the fact that I don't know you in person, I've definitely enjoyed your videos. Let's see here. Bro, the fake carnivores, wannabe lions, are not concerned with the truth. They are by far the most dishonest group. Do you mean dishonest with you and me, or with themselves? If it's dishonest with themselves, then maybe it's just covering up that feeling of guilt for eating animals or for killing animals. For example, I heard you, Vegetable Please, say recently that you wouldn't want to kill an animal, and I can definitely relate. However, for me, if I'm going to eat animals, if that's what I decide I want to do, then I'm going to kill them, because I need to have that experience again for me to do it. I mean, I need to know what I'm doing and take responsibility for it. Let's see. Okay, with everyone. The carnivores specifically then, or are you just talking about people who are no longer vegan? They are not right in the head, might be parasites from all the raw meat. I do wonder about the raw meat and the Agenus Vonder planet ordeal. Now, here's another question, though. This is a big question. I know there are vegans that have good teeth health, and I was able to maintain good teeth health as a vegan. But the question might be more, are you more prone to having bad teeth on a vegan diet? And I'm not sure. And one argument that oh, I'm looking at Benny Math here. I just watched How to Quit Weed. Hey, thanks for watching that. What did you think? So, yep, still haven't had weed for a long, long time now. And seems like a good choice. Still can relate to people who like to get high, but yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm happy that I'm not. Especially, I'm glad I don't have any smoke going into my lungs and getting me tar. Going back to this vegan carnivore thing, the teeth subject. So there are a lot of vegans who have had poor teeth health. And there is one vegan, you guys probably know who he is, who used to say that the meat diet rots your teeth out, and now they lost all their teeth and they have fake teeth. They didn't hide it necessarily. They did tell about it at some point, but they're acting as if that is not an issue. So if you have any comments about teeth, please share your comments. Depends on which vegan diet. Nothing proper mouth care shouldn't be able to handle. I am not addicted yet. I am just 17, only in parties. Okay, yep, that's somebody on the weed subject. Yeah, I'm glad you're not addicted. If you're going to do that, I recommend that you eat it. Cook it in coconut oil and eat it if you're going to do that, but be careful. And I definitely am not advocating that. But for you, I just want to say that I think that way is it's much more healthful. if you're going to do it, and you only need a very small amount if that's all that you do. So let's see. I didn't know you can. But I didn't know you can be addicted. I think it's psychologically that people could be addicted to weed. I want to kind of keep this particular debate on the vegan subject, but that's okay. I'm happy you're asking those questions, and it is a good thing to talk about. Basically, with weed, it's more of a psychological addiction, but I do believe there are physical withdrawal symptoms as well. And so, yeah, there's a lot that could be said about that. I might have to do a live stream about that subject at some point too. You can be addicted to anything, and true. I would agree with that too, Race Lever, that you can be addicted to anything. Your body tends to crave what you give it, and that's why, in general, I would say that a lot of cravings are, as you pointed out, or as you've kind of implied, cravings are not necessarily coming from a place of need as much as a place of that's what you've had before. And people do get used to having different things, and their body tends to crave those things. And that has been the case with me lately with having cream. My body has craved cream. Before I was having the cream, my body was craving soy milk with tea. And for those who don't know, there's a lot of calcium in beans and in soybeans. It's just something that people should know, because a lot of people don't know that you can get calcium from beans, or they don't really see beans as a source of calcium. Also, of course, zinc and iron. So, yeah, I might be wrapping it up here pretty soon. I'm going to see if any more questions come in, and if I think of anything else that might be relevant to say here. If you've got anything else, now's the time. Shout out to the people I didn't know before I got into this whole ex-vegan, ex-carnivore kind of place. John Venus's brother, Leo Venus, that guy's a vegan. Looks like he's getting really strong and holding a lot of muscle. John Venus, as you know, is a plant-based guy. Still eating vegan, as he says, and has a lot of muscle. Let's see here. Leo is cool. Yeah, Leo seems pretty cool. I respect his position too, as of now, from what I know about him. And like I said, I only learned about Leo Venus recently, but he's a good advocate for health on a vegan diet for sure. And he's definitely taking a stand for veganism, as you probably have seen too. And so that being said, with veganism, I have had a problem with all dogmas all of my life. I don't like anybody telling me what to do, and I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way. So the best way to lead is by example, and also by being as compassionate and as understanding towards other people as possible. And I know you're not going to always feel like being compassionate or understanding towards people that you don't agree with, but I do think that goes a long way. Okay, let me see here. Happy, healthy vegan. Happy, healthy vegan. I'm getting asked if I like happy, healthy vegan here. Now, that's a good question. I obviously don't know Happy Healthy Vegan in person. I've never spoke with them. I respect people advocating a vegan diet, but Happy Healthy Vegan is taking the stance of that he knows better, and I like have a hard time with arrogance, and I know that I can even be arrogant sometimes. So I'm not like I'm forgiving too for the most part, but yeah. I mean, anybody who is stating that they know better, I always question them. But yeah, there's some okay stuff. There's a lot of vegans that I prefer to Happy Healthy Vegan. Let's see here. Looking at some other comments. Benny Math. Don't worry about your speaking. Okay, yeah. If you're speaking in certain, if you don't want to speak under certain conditions, and again, I'm going to say let's keep this towards the vegan thing right now. But I hear you. If you're going to be, if we're talking about speaking in public when you're feeling a little bit paranoid or something like that, yeah, sometimes it's better just not to say anything. Let's see here. Yes, cannabis can make you overthink things. True. Agree. 100%. So now we're going on to cannabis again here. I kind of want to keep this on the vegan carnivore subject, but that's okay. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you. So I'm thinking I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute, though, unless there's something that somebody really wants to add to this. Okay. Yeah, no worries. No worries. I'm glad that you are on here, that you joined in, and I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're sharing your thoughts and experience with me, even if it's not directly related to the vegan and carnivore thing. Yeah, for me, this is awesome that there's anybody on this live stream. So thanks for being on it. All right. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. If you have any more comments, you feel like there's some things I didn't cover in this video. Do you like hench herbivore? Hench herbivore. Now, hench herbivore sounds familiar, but I don't remember which person he is. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have to look up hench herbivore and see who that is. Familiar, the name. I probably have at least seen one video, but I don't remember who they are right now. Okay, I'm going to just pause long enough to see if there's any more questions coming in. All right, and if I miss any questions coming in here, and you want me to do another live stream, or you want me to just cover a video on any of the subjects that you feel like we didn't cover in this video, then I'm happy to do that. So just let me know in the comments and I'm going to do that, or at least I'll address them on some level directly or through the comments in a video some way. All right, man. Have a great day. Hey, you too. Thank you very much, Race Lever. And it's a wrap. Cool. And thank you for your... Hey, my pleasure. Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Benny Math. If I'm saying that right, if I got it wrong, forgive me. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Really happy I could have you here. Again, this has been the Organic Adventure Show. I am Cy Rodriguez, and until next time, all good things. Thank you guys.